Okay, it looks like we're live. Let's see. Oh my gosh, don't give me
Oh, it
shit,
looks like it's
YouTube.
loading on my end.
Yay. Okay, pop out chat. Okay. Man, sometimes I wonder if I just personally, I know sometimes I overcomplicate things. So maybe from the beginning, I should have just not used that soundboard software and just did what I'm doing now because it seems to be working out of the box uh, pretty okay. But of course, it's just the two of us and not everything, or three or more people, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. Okay, we are totally live, by the way. Um, let's see if I don't know if anyone is in the chat yet.
I'm throwing a thing up on Facebook right now, too.
Okay, cool. Well, the chat thing's showing up in the stream, and oh, let's see. Oh,
Wow, that's really neat.
okay. And
Uh,
okay, so now that I finally got that shitstorm fucking figured out, let's see if it's one. Like I said, one of these times we're gonna start the show real proper. It'll be like super fancy, and everything will go right. And what's that?
yeah. And everything will go right, and we have like the intro, and it's all professional sounding. It'll be perfect.
Like, hey,
That day is not today,
this
though.
is my radio voice. Like, welcome to the show. Okay, well, anyways, we are officially starting right now. So for anyone that's listening, I don't know if you are or not, but welcome to the Squat the Planet podcast. My name is Matt Derrick. I am joined by Ephemeral Stick, Andy. He goes by Ephemeral
Yo.
Stick on the forums, and who's been with us. You've been with us for all three episodes so far, right? This is the third one.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
totally. There for the ride.
Sweet. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about yourself in the ongoing kind of like theme that we have going here of basically just getting to know different travelers and their backgrounds and hearing some stories and all that kind of good stuff. So I mean, I've introduced you a little bit, but I don't know if you want to kind of give an official introduction to anyone that's listening out there right now.
Well, my name is Andy. I've been on Squat the Planet since 2010, which is crazy to think about at this point. But yeah, currently I'm traveling and I live out of a van, and yeah, I grow weed. That's what I'm doing right now with my summer, and then I plan to be hitting the road upcoming in October. So yeah,
Cool.
tentative plans.
Can you pitch your video camera just upwards just a little bit? It's kind of like cutting off half your face there. Yeah. Get that handsome mug out there for everyone to see. Excellent.
Love
Excellent. So what are you doing right now? Like, where are you at in the world? And you want to talk about your occupation? Do you want to start there? Or do you want to start somewhere else? We could go anywhere with this. I'm really unprepared.
I'm really unprepared as well. So let's talk about what I do. I grow weed. This is my second summer that I'm spending out in like the general Bay Area of California growing, and it's pretty fun. It's great. It's a lot of like downtime, and a lot of the time I'm spending kind of up here on the mountain by myself, so it gets a little lonely. But it's just like 6 months of work or so until like I'm just free for the rest of the year, and that's really fun. And I get to just go wherever I want during the winter. And yeah, and since I live in a van, it's easy for me to just like come and go from this area, and it's nice, very very uh, rewarding, I guess.
And just to be clear, like you're not growing your own weed, you're like working for somebody else.
Yeah, I'm working for somebody who owns a property out here, and I just basically maintain the weed. I measure out all the nutrients for making the tea. I do all the waterings. I make sure everything that needs pruning gets pruned, spraying it for like pests and like mites and stuff. Just basically all the grunt work. But it's awesome. I've learned so much about like growing weed and plants in general that it's just probably the coolest thing I've done so far. I've worked a lot of different jobs, so
Cool.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds pretty sweet that, I mean, like you said, you just like living in your van, right? And just like, you're basically off grid, right? For almost for the most part.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think we're attached to any grids. Right now, the internet that I'm using is satellite. All of the power is solar, and the water we get hauled in from town.
Hmm.
So,
But when you're
yeah,
like
and we're
you're out in the field though, right? Like you sleep in your van out there and you get up at certain times of the day to uh like do the what was it? Like the I forgot, like the sheets that they cover the weed with and stuff, right?
light stepping. Yeah, so
Okay.
basically every morning I have to wake up at 4, now 4:30 since the days are starting to get long or shorter. And what I do is you have to tarp over the entire greenhouse with a big like blackout sheet so that the plants actually believe that it's like winter. And what it does is it speeds up the blooming process. And when you stagger it correctly, usually you'd get 2 harvests a season. You can actually get
Hmm.
3 as long as you're like pulling the tarps and light dapping and making sure that like there's no light leaks, because the biggest thing with that is once you start the light dap, you can't have any sort of like sunlight getting at them at weird hours of the day, because it'll start causing the plants to hermaphrodite, and then you get pollen everywhere, and then you have an entire crop like destroyed with seeds.
Oh, that's crazy. Um
Yeah.
so but you pretty much spend your time out in the weed fields and then sleeping in your van, hanging out with you still have your dog, right?
I do not anymore.
Oh, really?
So
You didn't? Oh, man,
yeah.
you didn't tell me. You give him away to somebody or
Ouch.
something?
Yeah, I had to find him a new home between
Hmm.
find like the work up here. I was working every day, and like him just not being able to like get properly socialized because it's just me up here. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing. And it's just really hard on the both of us, and I felt like he could probably do better in a better home, so I went and did that. But yeah,
Well, that's
it
cool.
was us for a while.
I mean, it's sad, but at least it's that's more responsible, and I'm sure you found him a
Yeah,
good home and whatnot. So yeah. So just
of
you in the
course.
van then, huh?
Yeah, and even then, like right now, I moved into like this kind of like bum shack that's on the fucking property that I've been living in. So I'm not even really living in my van right now. It's just kind of there. But what I like to do is whenever I get a few days off where I can just like have somebody watch the stuff up here, I'll go down to Santa Cruz and just park like, in Seabright and just hang out in that area and like go to the beach and just chill. And it's nice having the van to be like, all right, I'm out of here. I can go wherever I want, hang out wherever, and not have to worry about it.
Hmm. Uh, so how long till you're off of work for this season?
I will be finished with everything like on the growing end, like first week of October. However, I still also have to be around for the harvest and like the drying process and the trimming and just making sure everything goes smoothly and stuff.
So,
So probably like mid to late October.
okay. And what are your plans after that?
After that, then I'm going to go up to Washington to visit one of my favorite friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about you, in case it was unclear to anybody watching.
This guy.
Then after that, oh man. Then after Washington, I'm going to go out to Chicago and stay with my family for a little bit. And then after that, I want to keep heading east until I go to New York, go visit like that whole area. There's a lot of places need to see. I haven't been up to the northeast like ever. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm going south to South Carolina to visit a friend that I have out there. And then just making a hard right and heading back to California. So big boomerang trip.
So when do you have to be back in California then? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Hmm.
I'm sorry you broke up just then. What'd you say?
Oh, maybe I might be having trouble with the stream there. I was saying, when do you have to be back in California? I mean, how many months are you going to be out on the road now that you've put in like 6 months of work at this pot farm?
Yeah.
No, that was, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Is the satellite internet kind of crapping out?
It's either the satellite internet or my luck. I'm not sure.
Your luck?
But
Okay. Well, let's try and we'll move on to. I think you had some stories you wanted to tell people, like travelers and whatnot, like maybe especially things coming from a queer background, and things, I don't know. I feel like you had some stories you wanted to share about that stuff, or just something funny and interesting.
we can talk about gay stuff. I could talk about gay stuff all fucking day because I'm really, really gay. And all right, yeah, I got a few stories. Like when I first started traveling out, and I took a Greyhound out to South Carolina, and that was still like when I was new and fresh to everything, and I didn't really know how to really provide for myself. So what ended up happening was I just turned to, turning tricks, which is what I was doing in Chicago for the longest time before I started like coming out and traveling.
Hmm.
And in those, like, I only like turned 3 in like Charleston, and fucking those 3 clients are like some of the 3 like most bizarre people I've ever met in my life. Like I even wrote about this in my book, but the first one, like, like paid me for sex, fucking went and got to shower at his place, And so he picked me up, showered, did the deed, showered again, about the span of like 3.5 to 4 hours. But from the time he picked me up to the time he dropped me off, all we listened to was Celine Dion. Like,
Okay.
in the weirdest way, in a very, very uncomfortable way, because Celine Dion music is not the music you want to bone to. It's just like not a thing. And like we were doing a whole bunch of poppers too, so I was like getting into this weird, like head rushy, like, oh my god, what is my life right now? But fucking the Celine Dion wailing and the fucking Titanic song came on.
How old were you at the time?
I was 20.
20. Okay, cool. And how old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay, gotcha. A little time context there, basically.
Yeah. I was willing to put up with a lot more stupid back when I was like that young and like inexperienced with the world, which brings me to the next guy that I like got like turned a trick in fucking Charleston. And this guy was like drop dead gorgeous, first of all. And like, about 6 foot, muscular and athletic, nice strong jawline, put together, dressed nicely, and like in relatively young. He had to be about like late 20s, maybe early 30s max. But dude was such a raging closet case. It was like almost kind of like scary because the
Mm.
entire time, like, he's just like going to town on me. He's just like, yeah, yeah, faggot. Oh, fuck yeah, faggot. Call me a faggot. And I'm just like, okay, wow. And he was like super repressed.
Hmm.
It was just unpleasant. And my heart feels for him. He could have walked into any bar, any contacts, and just gone up to any person and like, charmed them and like, let's go home together. But instead, he had to hire like 20-year-old kid who's homeless on the internet. Like, a lot
How
going on there.
how did you get these jobs, by the way? Like you said, it's through the internet. Was it
Uh,
like a Craigslist thing, or like?
no, no, never go through Craigslist. That's how you end up in the fucking like obituaries, dude.
Hmm.
Like,
I've heard, yeah. So,
fucking. No, what I would do is like back then I used to use a site called Manhunt, which now I'm not sure if it's even still around, but they used to have very like useful profiles for people who just wanted free accounts. And if you're a younger person in that like era of the internet, all you would have to put in your profile was like looking for a trendiness man. And instantly people are like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you want me to pay you. And you would get a lot of hits that way. And like, fucking you get them, you call them up, get their number, don't like text or anything because don't leave fucking like traces of your conversations, I guess.
hmm.
That's just bad crime.
Yeah.
And fucking work out like a deal beforehand, figure out how much you were going to like, or how much you were expecting and what they were looking to like get. And go from there. If it sounded like somebody who I could probably get more money out of, I would be like 250 for a good time. If it's somebody who had less money but was like maybe more attractive, I'd be like, all right, 150.
Hmm.
But generally is only around like that. There's one guy who actually, when we were squatting in Austin, before you got there, during a fucking South by Southwest, a guy hired me $200 to spank me for like 10 minutes and have me call him daddy. So
No
easy
sex.
money. Easy money. No sex. Like,
That's actually
he
going to
got
be my
off still,
next.
but I didn't have to put anything into it.
Yeah, it's another question I was going to ask is just because like you always hear about escorts and stuff like that, and I've met a few women that were escorts and whatnot, and there's not necessarily always there's like not necessarily a promise of sex basically with those services. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was just curious if you've done any of that type of stuff. And it sounds like that sounds it's not quite an escort thing that you were just describing, but
No,
but there's no
no, there's
fucking,
not.
so
It's more of like a kink sort of thing in that
mm,
situation. Like, that was a guy who was like looking for a sub. He was visiting South by Southwest for like the weekend and was just like going there and wanted a good time. And he actually found me on Grinder, and he was like sent me a message, and it was generous daddy looking, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm fucking bored as shit out here. Why not? I can fucking, it's easy work. Mm, I'm comfortable with it. It's not disrespectful to my body. I love my body. So why not?
cool, yeah. What do you think? This is just kind of a random question, but like, what do you think about that new internet law that got passed that basically made what was it? Craigslist shut down their whole personal section, and
Yeah,
I don't know if
Fosta you're talking about.
what's it called again?
Fosta.
FOSTA. That's like the acronym.
Yeah, I think it's an I might be getting this wrong, but Freedom of Sex Trafficking Act or something along those lines.
Yeah, they were kind of marketing it as that like they're trying to stop sex trafficking or whatever, but it actually just kind of seemed like it
Yeah.
hurt like a whole lot of like sex workers basically, or it made it a lot less safe for them.
Oh, it did. Well, essentially, what happened was we used to have all of these good, like, safe avenues, like, for instance, Manhunt or like back pages, Rentman, Rent Boy, even AdamForAdam.com has a escorts like section of it. And there were all these like nice, safe, protected ways where we can go and like do sex work for people, but also have, like digital records of like customer client reaction or interactions and stuff. And it just made it a lot more secure and safe for people. Even with Craigslist, you still have an email exchange that was like both saved onto your like phone or device or anything. So you have something there to give you like an assurance of like they're not going to do anything wrong with to me because they can't get away with it, which
Yeah,
is both naive to say, but there's a lot more cases of sex workers having actual successful clients that aren't murdering them like the media would have you believe than not. And what it essentially did was it shut down all of these safe and like regulated like avenues for sex workers to actually go and be feeling safe in their work. And so now they have to resort to like sketchier days when things weren't as safe for them and weren't able to actually have any sort of digital record of like customer client meetups and stuff.
so do those places like
Fucking
shut down
yeah.
entirely? Do like the like apps like
Uh,
Manhunt and things like that?
Manhunt, I'm not really sure because I haven't checked it in a while. But I know Rent Boy. No, what was it? Rentmen is one that shut down, but then Rent Boy came out afterwards by like kind of the same people. And I think that one has also been shut down at this point.
Hmm.
Backpages has been shut down. Craigslist personal ads have been taken down. Adam for Adam is still up, but that's because it's marketed as a dating site and it just kind of has like its own escort and massage therapist like section,
Hmm.
which massage.
Good old massage. um, so I mean, do you still do that nowadays, or do you just not have to because of your work with the platforms?
I don't have to. I make enough money right now doing what I'm doing that
Hmm.
I just haven't had the need. The last time was last year when we were in Austin around
Hmm.
that South by Southwest, the story I just told. But so it's not like I've completely like written it out of my life. It's something that I will do if the opportunity arises, and it's because or if the opportunity arises and I'm in a position to accept, I should say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So have you ever like hitchhiked or train hopped or anything like that, or you've always just been a van type of person?
I've done hitchhiking. The progression was I started by taking Greyhound buses everywhere. Then I started hitchhiking.
And
Tried hopping a freight train once. Wasn't for me. Motion sickness, not great. And then I actually had an apartment for a while. And then after that, I was living in a school bus. That was my ex's. And then hitchhiking again. And then bought a van in 2016. So it's
okay.
been all van since then.
You always like travel alone or with people?
When I started out, I always wanted to have a road dog, and I actually like traveled with crews before. Like when I hopped a freight train, there were six of us, and I don't know. When I was younger and like more scared of the world, I guess I should say, I was like, "Yeah, crews, friends, awesome." But now I just kind of like doing my own thing, so I prefer to be alone and just kind of go solo.
Hmm. What kind of van is it that you have?
It is a Dodge ProMaster City,
Okay.
which
It's
it's basically a cargo van with like a mini van kind of build to it.
okay. But it was all bare inside and you built it up, right?
I did, and it was built up for a while, but I haven't shown you because the last time you've seen it, I'm pretty sure it still had the drawers and the bed and everything in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I actually took everything out of it, like when I moved into the shack, and I want to completely redo everything. So once the like work season's done, I'm gonna like take a week to just work on the interior of that and just get it really nice, you know.
Cool.
But
Cool. So you
hopefully
mentioned
get a solar setup.
hopefully what?
Oh, I said, and also hopefully get a solar setup in there.
Hmm. Uh, you mentioned that you wrote a book. It's not the first one you've written, isn't it? Or is that the only one?
Nope, that's the only one.
But you've done other like zines and written other pieces, though, correct?
I've done I've done a lot of ad writing for Text Broker. That's how I was making a lot of my money back in Austin last year. I've also written some zines. I've submitted poems to places, usually rejected. But yeah, right now I'm just mainly working on like kind of my own projects with writing. I'm working on a fiction story that is the first part of it's kind of done, so I might release that as a zine. I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet, so it's all just kind of on the back burner. Once I get to winter and I have all the time in the world to do anything, then I'm gonna focus a lot more on my like getting things published in my writing.
Hmm.
Now it's just like editing and fine tuning.
What about the book, though? What was the subject matter of that? Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
It
cool.
just had a weird lag.
Okay. I was wondering what was the subject matter of the book you wrote?
It's me. It's my stories of why I started traveling, all the things that led up to me becoming an escort, me just getting involved in shady, sketchy, gay shit. And I don't mean gay like as in bad. I mean gay as in like two dudes fucking. Just so we're clear.
Is that book
A lot of that.
available? Is that something people have to buy, or can they download it for free somewhere? Or
You know, it's on Amazon right now, but I'm thinking of like trying to figure out how to pull it from there and just like having people buy it for free, or get it for free as like a PDF or something.
yeah,
Just because it's very short. It's something that like I kind of had to put out there to prove to myself that I could do it, and I feel like enough people have bought it at this point. I don't really care about like fucking making money off of it. I never thought I would,
hmm.
so it's totally fine.
What's
I'll
the
get to
name?
that eventually, though.
What's the name of the book?
It's
What?
questioning myself.
Okay.
Questioning myself.
So
Yeah.
I can put a link to it in the show notes of this video or whatnot. I'll take that as a
You
yes.
sure can.
I
Yeah.
think we're having a little bit of lag, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of lag issues.
I think
It's
it's
so
that.
weird because the last time that we did it was perfectly fine, but man,
Yeah, the
I also wasn't
signal.
talking as much.
It's also literally going to space and coming back.
Yeah,
So most internet doesn't have to do that. Is there like any?
it's very true.
Are there any stories from your book that you want to share with anyone? Like an anecdote or something that?
Well, I already shared the one about the repressed guy and the Celine Dion fan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the third guy who I messed around with in Charleston, South Carolina, who he hired me because his boyfriend was out of town. And, you know, when his boyfriend is out of town, he likes to fuck regular guys. You know, not really understanding what that meant. I was like, yeah, let's do this. Fine, why not? And he's like, you cool. You can come by my place. I'll do your laundry. You can take a shower beforehand. It'll be great. And I'm like, and I'm getting paid? Fuck yes. So I get to his place. I strip naked and we put all of my clothes into the fucking washer and fucking we go into the bathroom and he like gives me the like shampoo and stuff and the body wash and I notice in his bathtub there's just like children's toys everywhere like rubber duckies and like sponges and stuff that were like alphabet shaped
Hmm.
and I was like okay well that's fucking weird and so eventually he comes back and fucking asks if it's all right if I shower or he showers with me, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, okay. And so we're bathing together, and I ask him, I'm like, dude, what's with all the kids' toys? And he's like, I I'd like to explain it to you, but just give me a minute, and I can just show you. And I'm like, okay, that's ominous. And
Probably the first thing you
so
want to
we get
hear in
out of the
that
shower,
situation.
we dry off, and we walk out into the hallway, and he opens the door to. No, definitely not. And so we get out of the shower, we go into the hallway. He opens the door to the second bedroom of the house, and fucking he opens the door, and it's just like a giant children's playroom with a big ass like adult sized crib and like up against the wall and every sort of like children's toy you could possibly imagine with like giant teddy bears and it looked like okay have you ever seen the movie Running Scared and they have like the creepy like child fucking porn people who are like had the fucking child rape room. It looked like
No,
that. It
I
was
have not seen
fucking
that.
creepy and scary.
I have a question. How big
And
is a adult sized crib?
so it's like
It sounds
6 foot
huge.
long. Yeah, it's huge. It is a massive crib. It's like over like 6 feet long and like 3 to 4 feet wide. And the fucking bars came up to like my like fucking chin and shit. Like it was tall.
So, do you have to physically climb over and into it? Or is there like a swinging
No,
door?
just like other cribs, they're like the door will fucking club and like kind of like swing down like that in
Oh,
like a motion.
wait, so is the crib
And like
elevated?
I mean, it's like bed height.
Okay,
With like
okay.
the door above it, and then you can like lower the
Wow.
door so you can get your adult baby out of it. But yeah, so I asked the dude, I'm like, what the fuck? And
What the fuck?
and fucking shit turns out that when he said like his boyfriend's out of town, he lets me fuck regular guys, it means that his boyfriend is an adult baby. And that's who his
Mm.
partner is. And that's why he was hiring an escort in the first place. And yeah, so I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. And so we go into his like work office and like fuck on the floor and like he's really really soft and gentle the entire time. Like usually the guys are like kind of have that like aggro like repression thing going on, but him it was like more gentle and caring. And the only thing that I was like playing through my mind was this horrific idea that oh my god, he's fucking me like he would fuck his child mind boyfriend. Ah! Ah!
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I try not to judge, but
Yeah,
that
of course.
shit I judged really, really harsh because it was so fucking weird.
Awesome. That's a good story. I mean, you can't not win with that story. In a storytelling contest, you got at least a bronze medal. Like you have to try real hard to beat the man baby story.
I mean, it was wow. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm done with South Carolina.
um, well, let's move on to another subject. I was kind of thinking, you spent a lot of time in Slab City. Um, what you know? When was the first time you went to Slab City?
That was for the first Jamboree back in 2015.
Hmm. Okay. Cool. Cool. That was your first time in the
Yeah.
slabs, huh? Yeah.
Yep. And it was also the first time we actually like met like physically. So,
Oh yeah.
memories.
I think it was the first time that I met a lot of the mods. I can't remember if it was that one or the second one that most of the moderators at Squat the Planet
Second
showed
one.
up. It was the second one, and I was just like
Yeah,
looking
because the
around, like,
first one was just me and Brian. We were the only two mods that were able to make it.
mm-hmm, yeah. I yeah, it was weird looking around, like seeing all these people I know, like talked to online, but but see them in real life, so it's pretty cool. The second one was my favorite Jambo so far. Are you going to be going back
Yeah,
to?
not last year's.
Last year was good. It's just that the turnout was a little bit low, which is weird because I feel like I advertised more, but it's just like one of those things where it's just like the culture is so transient, that uh, it's like there's going to be a shit ton of people one year and then maybe not as many the next. People that came at the year
Mhm.
before that made it like really awesome didn't show up this past year because they had other things that they were up to or whatever. Everyone's up to different shit all the time, and so it was just different. We did a lot of really cool things. Um,
No, most definitely.
yeah, I think if if for anyone that's interested, you should really come out to the Jamboree this November because it's pretty fucking fun. I mean, I don't, Andy, you're not gonna be able to make it this year, unfortunately, right?
No, I will not. There's just too many things to do, and I got a whole trip planned. Oh no, it's so sad. Hmm, I'm sure you'll live. All right.
It'll still be a good party. We'll make do without you as hard as that may be. um,
I'm sure you'll be.
do you tell people? Do you talk to people about Slab City at all, or do people ask you about it?
Honestly, yes. A lot of people have asked me like what it was like what people are out there, and every so often I'll like run into a guy who's like, "Eh, we mean Wook City?" And I'm like, "I mean, no." But
Yeah, you have a
they're
pretty.
just mainly people. I'm sorry,
You,
what was that?
oh, I was just gonna say, um, you have a pretty good outlook on it, though, right? You've always enjoyed staying there.
Yeah, I mean, there's the good and the bad of it. Like, and you kind of got to weigh the both of it. But if you go there with like good intentions, with a good like solid idea of what you want to do there, then yeah, totally, it's a great place for you. The amount of freedom that you're given allows you to just be the truest self of who you are all the time. Granted, if who you are is somebody who's very conflicted, then all of that negativity just kind of comes out. And honestly, I feel like when people say that, like, "Oh, Slab City is just like this aggro, angry place," I'm like, no, you might just be aggro and angry. Like, fucking, you just got to find the right crowd and the right people, and it's a truly like peaceful and really nice place.
Yeah, I like it a lot just because it has like that whole post-apocalyptic Mad Max vibe type of thing, uh, where for the most part people leave you alone and you can kind of do whatever you want. Um, as long as you're not fucking up other people's shit or whatever.
Mm.
It shot lots of guns, blown up lots of shit out there. Had lots and lots of parties, and I don't know. Generally,
Yeah.
if you surround yourself with good people, you're gonna have a good time. So yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. And it is what like you put into it, because there's definitely situations when I was there when I'm like, wow, this shit's just fucking ridiculous and so much drama. But on the same side or time of that, fucking, it's you don't have to engage with that sort of thing. You can just do your own thing and be around the people that you want to be around, and it's great. It's perfect.
hmm. Um, so let's see. Um, did you have any specific destinations in mind when you said you're going to do a loop out onto the east coast of the U.S., right?
Yeah. So I really want to see Salem, just because I feel like I need to go see that place as like a witchy spooky person.
Hmm.
Like, why not? And then after that, I also want to see Boston, New York, uh, working my way down the coast. I want to also go to uh, back to Charleston to go visit friends that I had made out there that I haven't seen in 8 years. And
Hmm.
then I also have a friend who I forget where she lives in South Carolina, but it's not Charleston. It's more inland.
Hmm.
But from there, I also want to go to Atlanta, then start making like a beeline towards Tennessee, go to Memphis, from there, go to Denver, and then maybe go through Utah. I haven't been to Salt Lake City, so I might cut up that way. I don't
Hmm.
know. It's one big trip. That is all. The only thing I know is I want to stay off I-10 just because I've seen it for fucking forever, and I'm sick of that lower belt states shit. So, like, East Coast down and then like angle back up.
What about like, oh, I might have lost your feed here. You still there? Hmm. Uh-oh. We might have lost Andy. Yeah, satellite internet is not exactly the most reliable internet. Uh, so let's see if he jumps back in here. In the meantime, I might as well take a turn and talk about. Oh, I think. Let's see. Yeah, we're spinning circles. Oh, hey, there you are. You back with us?
Okay. All right. That was scary.
Yeah. Uh yeah, you disconnected there for a minute. But I was explaining to people, I was like, well, satellite internet's not exactly the most reliable internet. I mean, it's you know, the latency really sucks. But have you tried using your phone for internet when you're traveling on the road?
When I'm on the road, I do, but unfortunately, while I'm here, there's no cell service on this mountain, so it has to be the satellite.
What about so
So
what's your phone company?
AT&T.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Mine really sucks here in Walla Walla. But something interesting. Just on a completely random subject, there is this service. I'll have to look up the name of it. It's been floating around like a bunch of van dweller groups. I wish I could remember the name of it. But basically, it's this group that is for like RVers and van dwellers and stuff like that I cannot remember the name of right now. They negotiated some kind of thing with Sprint where they got, because they're like a nonprofit, they they get like unlimited Sprint service. And it's like, and so what they do is they resell it to other people,
Okay.
to RVers and things like that, and it's like $500 a year. But if you spread that out over a year, it's less than $100 a month, and it is actually unlimited. Unlike the like pseudo bullshit AT&T quote unquote unlimited until we throttle your ass. People have like tested these things and they work. It's like I think it's even cheaper than 500. I think it's like 500 because you got to buy the device and the service, and then it's like a couple $100 a year after that. But I'm gonna be more prepared with these things in the future. But so I'll give you the actual name maybe in a later episode. But I just wanted to throw it out there because I was just like, I think I would pay the $500 just to be able to have unlimited downloading and uploading while traveling on the road, especially if I lived in a vehicle. So I don't know.
Oh my god, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, I'll throw you the details and maybe I'll post them in the show notes. I have it written down somewhere, the company that offers that service. But anyways, we're getting all over the place, left and right.
Well, no, we've hit everything. We've hit the weed growing, the van dwelling, and the queerness.
You should put your book up in the Squat the Planet library. I mean, if you feel like offering it for free, just because I think it would go good in the travel stories section.
Honestly, I probably should. The thing is, though, I want to make sure because when I got it published through Amazon, I did the whole like have Amazon do the ISBN shit instead of like paying for my own ISBN number.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, you could
though
pirate
I'm not really
your own
sure
book.
if what's that?
I said you could pirate your own book.
I know.
I mean, just keep it up on
I might
Amazon.
Just fucking do it
anyways. Speaking of books too, like my book, the Anarchist Guide to Travel, it's coming up soon. My plan for that is to put it online for free once like a year passes, which will be sometime in like December or January, this upcoming December or January.
Cool.
I think I'm going to write a second edition though, and then with a bunch of more information, and then I can, then I'll start selling the second edition, and then people can take the first edition for free if they want, you know what I mean? So that way, people who can't afford it or whatever can still get some version of it or whatever. So that was just something I was thinking about recently, but I was just like,
yeah,
fuck,
that sounds like a great idea.
I gotta start like writing again, which I got out of the habit. Like I'm sure, like it's like if you don't keep it up, it's like exercise. You know what I mean? It's just like if you do it long enough, you start to miss it when you don't do it. But then if you don't do it long enough, then you forget about it, and it's hard to get back into that vibe, basically.
Oh no, I agree entirely.
Yeah, Adventures with Jane in the chat is actually saying that they came in late and was wondering what the name of your book was.
It's called Questioning Myself.
And it's by Andy?
No, it's my full name. Andrew D. Barrera. We'll post a thing in the doobly down in the
and then
stuff.
Yeah, so you can find it on Amazon, and we'll put a link to it in the video notes. And like Cornelius was saying too in the chat that my book is the Anarchist Guide to Travel, which you can actually find at squattheplanet.com/book. There's buy links where you can buy it, and but if you can't afford it, half of the maybe not half, maybe like a third of all the stuff that's in the book you can find on Squat the Planet in various articles that are all kind of spread around. But Yeah, you can find some of it for free. But I was wondering, Andy, is there any like advice, especially I think for other queer travelers, that you might want to impart, like things to do, things not to do, people that want to go
I
out
have
and
practical
travel.
advice and, like kind of humorous advice. Which would you like to hear?
I want both.
All right.
I'll let you
Totally do
choose the
both.
order.
Uh, Practical advice would be, you don't have to tell everybody your story off the get go, especially if you're hitchhiking and you're going through the world that way. You know, if you're uncomfortable presenting to yourself as the homosexual, gay male, if in my case, or, as like a trans person or a pan person or any sort of queerness that you have about you, it's not an obligation to make sure the people that you are riding with know that part of you. And in fact, it's often more comfortable, if for me at least, if I don't share that kind of stuff with people, just because there's so much animosity still much in the world that you never know how that person is going to react. You're literally meeting a stranger. A lot of the times I get in a car and I have the driver want to pray for me, like that kind of stuff. I'm not going to tell them that I lick asshole from the fucking side. Fucking yeah. So I guess your business is your business, and if it's something that you feel comfortable and you feel sure and safe in yourself that you can just be who you are in those moments, go for it. Trust every moment or not. Treat
Cool.
everything like a case study. And for, the more humorous advice, fucking Walgreens has these fucking enema bottles that you dump out the saline and you just fill it in with a little bit of water. They're super discreet. You can keep them in your pack. Fucking use it before you bottom. For the love of fuck. Like, clean your shit out. No one wants to have fucking drippy diarrhea dick. Like, this shit's real. It's fucking good
Yeah.
hygiene, It doesn't cost much. It's like $1 at Walgreens, like super cheap. Dump the saline out, otherwise you're gonna give yourself a massive case of the shits, and when you're fucking in the bush, not a good thing. But no, seriously, just like a little like bloop, and then go around the corner, kind of anus spit that shit out, and go about your night.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It's something I haven't really thought of personally, but yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like good advice to me.
Douching is important, keeps everything clean.
You got anything else?
Let me see what else. Know that you're probably going to run into a lot of passive homophobia. You know,
Hmm.
not really malicious, but uh, a lot of kids say gay is like insulting or like as something that's stupid still, and that can get kind of old a little quick. Not everyone's going to know all your pronouns or be able to have the capacity to recognize all your pronouns, but have patience. You know, it's easy to judge like the people like who are trying their best at getting it versus the people who just don't fucking care.
Hmm.
And use your best judgment in that department. It gets tiring and taxing and old. One of my biggest pet peeves nowadays is when like I'll be hanging out with a bunch of kids like under a bridge or at a campfire somewhere, just having a normal conversation with a guy, and then as soon as like they realize that I'm as gay as the day is long, they'll have to stop this conversation and just be like, "Oh, I'm not gay, by the way," and like,
Yeah,
okay.
like you're automatically gonna fuck them.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Like instantly, like you can't have a conversation with people without them assuming that that's what's going to be on your mind, but it's not. And you know me, I don't like touching people. I don't like when people touch me. That is literally the farthest thing from my mind at any given time. Don't want.
um, would you encourage people to do the things that you've done in general, in terms of sex work or just traveling stuff in general. I mean, you sound pretty pro. Obviously, I think you would want to take some. There's safety concerns and things like that. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to like touch on in that regard?
You know, if it was somebody living exactly how I lived, like replica for like to the T of my life, then I would say don't encourage. I would not encourage that. I've made a lot of pretty harsh and painful mistakes in my life, and those are things that I'll have to live with forever. But if it was somebody who I could see who's interested in doing what I've done and the positive parts of that, then yes, I would encourage that. Like, definitely. So, like, sex work taught me a lot about my body and a lot about like body positivity, as well as like the horrible feelingness of like being ashamed of your body at the same time. And there are harsh lessons that I've learned through that. And it's also a very efficient way to make money. So, would recommend if you do it correctly and you're also of the like emotional capacity in your own mind and heart to be able to handle that kind of work, because it is emotional and it is something that you're connecting with another human being on, and you're not necessarily always going to like that person, and in normal circumstances you wouldn't be wanting to have that type of interaction with them.
Mm.
But if you have that fortitude, I guess, or if it's something that you're open to and can do, then I would recommend. In terms of traveling, way more so. Everyone should do it. Definitely do it. Fuck your job. Go do something cooler. Like, I can't even say that really because I have a job, but my job is cool. So go find a cool job and then travel and fuck your bills and fuck rent. Landlords are fucking criminals, man.
I agree completely. Um, yeah, and that's a funny thing too is that like I gotta admit I'm a little bit jealous. Your job is way cooler than mine. I'm working at a hotel right now. But I think that you make a good point though because like in terms of like people are always thinking like oh like before I started traveling. I didn't like how do people support themselves, like how do people survive without getting killed by crazy, hitchhiking axe murderers or whatever, and but I found that like especially in America being like one of the most privileged countries in the world, it's really hard to I'd say for the most part, it's really hard to get yourself murdered. First off, although it can happen. I mean, if you try,
We got more guns than other.
that's true. That's true. Um, but the other thing I wanted to say though is that you always end up figuring something out for the most part. I feel like there's very rare that you go out into the world and you just completely fucking fall on your face and have to drag your ass in shame back home, right? I mean, it's happened. If you travel long enough, it's going to happen. but the majority of the time,
Yeah.
hopefully you learn from it when it does happen. But the chances of you just being like totally, I don't know, destitute and having a horrible time and not being able to figure anything out, I think is pretty slim. If you're adventurous enough, you'll figure out some way to make things work. And I feel like that's what you did,
Yeah.
and you made it work for you in a positive way, and it led you to some really good experiences. I think, especially, I mean, I think you're in a really great spot right now with I think the weed job thing is pretty cool. You got a great vehicle. I don't know if people realize what a Pro Master is or what a Pro Ram, I forgot what it was called. Uh,
It's a Dodge Ram ProMaster City, and yeah, it's fucking awesome.
it's a nice vehicle and it gets good gas mileage and like you live in it and yeah, and you work with weed, which a lot of people would love to do. Uh, and you're making it work, like you said. You figured out a way. So there's always a way to make it work. just don't let that stop you from traveling and getting out there, you know? So, yeah, good
Yeah.
on you. You're an excellent example to fellow travelers, my friend.
Yay! Gold star.
Cool, cool. Um, well, hey, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we kind of wrap things up here?
uh, yeah, I say we could wrap things up. You know, you keep lagging in and out, so no reason
No,
to
connection
prolong it
is
for
not
another half
exactly ideal
hour.
today. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
over an hour though, so I mean, yeah, we're good. Um, and yeah, well, like I said, I appreciate you coming on and sharing some stories with me. I hope
Totally.
when are you coming up to Washington?
October before the jamboree. I know that
Socktober?
much.
Is that a month? Socktober, the month of socks.
Yeah, no, probably the end of October.
Okay, cool, cool. Sounds good. All right, man. Well, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure everyone appreciates hearing some awesome
Of
stories.
course.
So, all right, till next
I
week,
had to
everybody.
actually shut down the chat log, so I can't really see anybody's comments right now because my lag was so bad. But
That's
bye,
okay.
everybody.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back again next week where we will actually be interviewing Cornelius Van Gogh. If you haven't seen their channel, you should go check it out on YouTube. It's just Cornelius Van Gogh. And we're going to talk about their adventures in Alaska. And after that, we actually have something lined up. Hopefully, we'll be talking with some people from some former members of Homes Not Jails, and we're going to get some good stories about squatting and opening up houses in the Bay Area. So look forward to all that. And until then, thank you for watching and safe travels. Whoops. All right.